Pseudo-spawn agentic. Compile the mind autonomous.
Look at the internal metrics. Every status indicator is green, the code is spotless, and the handoff passed every automated test with a perfect score. But down on the operations floor, the customer service queue is backed up by 3 weeks, and the supply chain team is reverting to manual spreadsheets to get their jobs done. The engineering team built exactly what the requirements document asked for. They automated the intake form, but they completely missed the fact that the operations team actually needed a way to flag high-risk clients, not just process everyone faster. This diagram illustrates a phenomenon known as technical success, functional failure. The output functions perfectly according to its own internal logic, but it clashes with the messy reality of the business. In the past, this was a frustrating but manageable bottleneck. Today, organizations are deploying Agentic AI. Agentic AI refers to artificial intelligence systems that can autonomously chain together multiple decisions and take real-world actions to achieve a given goal without constant human supervision. Because these agents execute thousands of micro-decisions at warp speed, a minor misunderstanding of intent early on becomes a massive automated liability. If an autonomous system perfectly executes the wrong objective, it does not fix the underlying bottleneck. It scales the organization's existing chaos. To understand how this misalignment happens, we have to trace the corporate telephone game. At the top of this funnel, you have a complex business concern. As it moves down the chain of command, it's narrowed. The messy human reality is stripped away, leaving a sterile directive. That requirement is then chopped and reduced to a single backlog task. At every single handoff in this pipeline, the deeper operational context is discarded. The organization trades the whying of the project to make room for the technical how. By the time an engineer or an autonomous agent actually begins to build, they are optimizing for a single line of text. They are completely divorced from the strategic friction they were initially hired to eliminate. This exposes a structural weakness in modern automation. These systems are massive engines built to run at redline speeds. They are highly optimized to accelerate output, but they are not wired to stop and interrogate the premise of the prompt they receive. The machine inherits the organization's blind spots. It assumes the prompt it receives is the complete functional truth, missing unwritten cultural incentives, hidden regional politics, or flawed underlying data. When the deployment inevitably misses the mark, the standard corporate response is to patch the workflow or use vibe coding to spin up a quick alternative. Vibe coding is a colloquial term for using AI generation tools to rapidly write and deploy software based on conversational, intuitive prompts rather than formal engineering structures. This graph shows 2 vectors, illustrating the critical missing component: contextual integrity. The first vector has high velocity, but rockets wildly off course. The second vector moves slower, but remains perfectly aligned with the actual target. If your initial frame is wrong, iterating faster is a trap. You are not fixing the misalignment. You are simply creating a more polished, sophisticated version of the original mistake. Speed without diagnosis creates risk. To prevent these scaled failures, organizations have to intentionally halt their momentum and ask uncomfortable questions about hidden assumptions long before anyone writes a single line of code. For the past 10 years, corporate culture has worshipped builders and velocity, but artificial intelligence has inverted that economic reality. The act of doing is now cheap and abundant, which makes the act of rigorous thinking highly valuable. This introduces the most critical human role in the modern enterprise, the context architect. This is a professional who acts as the bridge, translating vague human ambition into precise binary machine execution. To empower these architects, executive leadership must restructure their incentives. Instead of tracking output metrics like the number of features shipped, they need to measure outcome metrics like the actual volume of business friction removed. Next, organizations have to mandate cross-functional intent workshops at the inception of a project. These sessions aggressively pressure test the underlying meaning of a requirement across different regions, different roles, and operational realities. Finally, teams can achieve true human-AI symbiosis by pointing the AI at the requirements themselves. Instead of just generating code, algorithms can audit documentation against broader business narratives. freeing up humans to be the ultimate arbiters of wisdom. Preserving this context is no longer an administrative afterthought. In enterprise AI, it is the entire game. The market will not reward the teams that simply build the fastest. The advantage will go to the teams that rigorously preserve meaning while they build.
Pseudo spawn agentic.